Please welcome Emily.
Absolutely such a pleasure to be here with you tonight. Actually, believe it or not, because you are here, your ticket sales or your presence has, and some of you in your case, your donations have been part of this fight to bring awareness, education, and most important, clinical care for ME CFS. And so you're in this fight, whether you like it or not. So maybe you want to know a little bit about me as your foxhole partner in this fight. I think it was very clear the reason why I'm here is because of my mother. When I was working on Capitol Hill and I received the call that my mom was very sick and hadn't been out of bed in a year, it was no question that I was going to fight for her. So I quit my job in DC, I moved back to California, home of the Golden State, and became a full-time caregiver. And I thought I knew what a fight was until I watched my mom fight her own body for 4 years. She was completely bedbound and couldn't eat solid food, and we were at a loss. We were some of the very fortunate ones. We had access to means and many doctors, and we just kept at it until we found someone who would listen. And through hundreds of treatments and trial and errors, my mom is 50% of what she used to be, but that's 50% of my mom that I have now, that I didn't have before. And so once I kind of passed through that chapter of my life, I ended up becoming an advocate. Not because I wanted to be up here talking to you all, and not because I felt the need to spew some political agenda, but because I recognized that there were hundreds of thousands of people out there just like my mom that may have not had the resources or care. And that's why I started to fight for ME. I was asked to talk about a little bit how we do that. Well, I could be a real policy nerd, which is in my heart of hearts, but the short version is I went back to my colleagues in Washington, D.C. and told them, I aim to misbehave. And I organized the patient population, and it's unreal to see the power in hundreds of people who are wheelchair bound or so sick, and you can watch the color drain from their face as their heart rate rises and they tell their story. But I basically said, we can't keep allowing these people to be invisible from those in power. And I started organizing ME CFS Advocacy Day. Next year will be our 4th annual ME CFS Advocacy Day. Thank you. And we had over 185 members of Congress and their staff meet with our patient population. We had 174 patients come this year from 50 when we first started. And we're just getting bigger and we're just gaining steam. So I could definitely nerd out over all the different things we did, but I'll just share one quick anecdote of our success. This year, as part of our requests for ME CFS Advocacy Day, we trained our advocates to ask for our inclusion in a funky little research program that nobody pays attention to called the Peer-Reviewed Medical Research Program. As you heard, the NIH has been notoriously bad at funding this disease, and the reason why they're bad at it is because they're not set up for it. They are simply a funding mechanism that scores grants, and then you get a score, and if your score is above a certain line, you get paid. But that doesn't work for diseases like ME CFS. We don't work on a scale of scores because our symptoms are so variable, our research is so different, our disease is different. How do you fit a disease that has no real category into a system where everything's in categories? So we started looking for other opportunities, and that's how we came across the Peer-Reviewed Medical Research Program. It operated actually out of the Department of Defense. So we organized our 174 members of our community, mostly who were sick. We went and knocked on the doors of 185 offices and really focused on those who had the power to change that. And this year, I'm really pleased to say, just as of 3 weeks ago, ME CFS will be an eligible topic area for this medical research program next year, opening up $360 million in research to ME CFS. And as proud as I am of that achievement, we couldn't do it without you. Your support, whether in dollars, time, or phone calls, or even if you're really sick, that one click on the political action form to send an electronic message to your member of Congress. We need you to make this happen. So thank you all so much for being here, for supporting our efforts. Please don't let your voices be silenced. Please join this fight with us, and we will solve ME. Thank you.